Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone. Miss Natasha here. I hope you're doing well. If you don't know, I'm a mental wellness creative and disability advocate, and I'm briefly going to have a discussion about exploring thoughts on manhood, thoughts on how manhood came about, and also the influences that shaped you into the man you are today. I'm interviewing men and fathers asking the question, why do you create instead of hate? So I have a lovely gentleman here, and I'm going to just read the three words that came to my mind when when I asked for you to be a part of this interview. And those words are author, father, and motivator.
Yeah,
So can you please introduce yourself?
great. Well, that sort of sums it all up. My name is James Browne, and I wear several hats, but if you was to sum me up in just one sentence, I feel that my purpose in life is to be an instrument of inspiration to this generation, right? So a lot of what I do, it's centered around inspiring. There's no price tag to inspiring. So I'm a coach. I am a speaker, public speaker. I'm a trainer, a licensed trainer, and also, like you said, I'm an author, right? But my passion is really just to inspire men, inspire this generation to really live their full potential, really live, the life God intended for them. So that's really my life's work or vocation, I will call it.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
Right.
I found whose I was and who I was in the last 10 years.
Wow. Amazing.
So it's been a wonderful journey, hard, difficult journey, but well worth it. Well worth it.
Yes.
So thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the first question, and it's going to be where do you find your fathering inspiration?
Right. Where do I find my fathering inspiration? Well, my inspiration really came from, I would say my dad. My dad, of course, because I grew up with a dad in the home, and also my older brother, who is
Mm.
10 years my senior. That's where I really got my fathering inspiration from. I could remember looking through the lens of a little boy growing up, and you will see certain things. You will see, you interpret fatherhood like my dad went out, he provided, for us. Not too much of showing a lot of emotions per se, but he was he was a provider. I saw fatherhood as someone who just laid down the rules, someone that you obey. So, he was present, but I was very distant from him, in terms of, yeah, that emotional side. But when it comes to stability, providing, I really saw that in him. However, on the other hand, my brother, yes, he was a major inspiration for me. I looked at him as like the benchmark. I used him as a benchmark to really try to articulate of what a man is really, what a man should be, what it does it look like. And I was really blessed to have a older brother. He have really set the precedence and really set a very good example for me of what a father should be. He is a father himself of three children, so I got my inspiration from, I would say, those two men.
Wow. That's blessed. That's blessed. Um, how has fatherhood enhanced your life?
Right. So how has it enhanced my life? So fatherhood is, it teaches you a lot.
Mhm.
It has made me a better man, I would say. I've learned to deny myself and
Mhm.
really lay down my life, really for my family. You know, um, the life I live today is really not about me per se. I
Mhm.
think a lot about posterity. I think a lot about legacy. I think a lot about generational wealth. It's always on my mind of, what would I leave behind for my kids? So, it has really taught me to be a better individual in terms of my character as well, my character development, tremendous character development. I've learned to be patient. I've learned to be long suffering. All the fruits of the spirit, really comes out when you become a father. I've learned to sacrifice, put myself last, and put my family first. So it has really, really enhanced my life in
Mhm.
terms of my character, in terms of, me becoming a better man.
That's wonderful. So before I started this interviewing men journey, I got to have lunch with two men and bounce the questions off of them. And so one of the gentlemen gave me this question and it was so profound, so I had to use it. And
Right,
because you talked about generational wealth and you talked about even wealth, not wealth in knowledge and self is also like so important.
right.
But this question I found it very interesting. How do you how did your relationship with money change after fatherhood?
Oh, wow. Well, it has changed a lot, you know. Um, yeah, when it comes to money, yeah, you definitely have a lot. It's like $100 look different when you're 21 and you have $100, to now you're 45 with a family. It looks different. There's a lot more that plays into that. So of course, it has changed my money perspective have definitely changed. Like I just explained to you just now, it's a lot of thoughts about generational wealth. You said something very powerful there. You said that, sometimes we look at wealth in terms of material possessions and money and all those stuff. But if you don't, if you don't put something in the children, there's a saying, it's not what you leave to your children, is what you leave in them, right? And yeah, so you got to definitely, that aspect is very, very important. I think I read in the Proverbs one time, it says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And
Mhm.
my question to the Lord was, I mean, how does it get to the grandchildren? And the
Mhm.
Lord said to me, He said, is what you put in the sons, is what you put in the children, then it will get to the grandchildren. If
Mhm.
the children don't have anything in them in terms of principles and how to deal with money, then guess what? It will never get to the grandchildren. So very importantly, it's what we teach our children. Right now, I have a 12-year-old son, I have an 8-year-old son, but I've been starting to coach my 12-year-old in terms of money. you
Mhm.
know, we looked at the whole, he's a kid right now. He could tell you what a stock is, what a bond is, what
Mhm.
real estate is, so I start doing that with him. He even have his own business right now. He has his own t-shirt business, and he's now starting another business called Behind the Lens, whereby he loves video production and the whole film industry. So it's yeah, so it's very, not to stray too much from what the question you're asking, but yeah, it has changed. It has changed tremendously for me in terms of the way I look at money.
I am so happy and proud that you are instilling things. You're demonstrating the right things for your for your, I call them young people because I have older children. And so it's like wonderful to hear, you know, that
Right.
that cultivation of self and
Yeah.
that freeness in within the home that you you they can come to you, you can go to them, and it's like, ooh, wonderful.
Yes, for sure. It's important. It's very, 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 very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So another question I have for you is how do you take care of yourself and what does taking care of yourself look like?
Mhm. Well, you see, that's a very good question. I think we as dads, sometimes we lose ourselves, with all the responsibility, all the exigencies of life, you call them, and
Love
the
that.
demands. Sometimes we fall short in really taking care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally. But what I do, what I practice doing, because of course I'm a coach, right? So I have to live up to my job. So I practice, soul care. I practice
Mhm,
soul care. So I listen to a lot of positive podcasts, anything that is positive, anything that can enhance what I do, anything that is uplifting. So I
mhm,
listen to a lot of motivational podcasts, right? Inspirational podcasts. And I do what I call thoughtful and emotional journaling. Yes. So I journal, trust me, I have a lot of journals here. I bought, I love journaling because it helps me to keep in touch with my emotions and my emotional intelligence, and also where am I? Where am I in terms of my thoughts? Sometimes you go through a day and you don't get to look at your day objectively. You're busy, and you just go through subjectively. But it's very good to, at the end of the day, to take some time out and journal, whether it's a gratitude journal, whether it's what I do more like general, like thought journal, things that I thought about. Yes, so that's how I take care of myself. Another thing I do, I bike and I basketball physically, right? I like biking, right? So I would ride my bike, and I will play basketball. I'm not a professional basketball player,
mhm.
but I do it for
That's
exercise,
okay. That's okay.
just to keep fit. And diff- sometimes I go to the gym, sometimes I work out, but I
Mhm,
particularly more prefer just working out at home. I
mhm,
follow up to exercise on online, right? So that's what I do to keep myself, to take care of myself. All right.
mhm.
In terms of my mental health, I really try to, you know, uh, as the Bible said, casting down all imagination. I try to really keep my mind pure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's what I do.
Wow. And that journaling piece, if we don't journal or if we don't have an account of how Lord has brought us out of things, we'll
Right.
forget. And that's what the point of some things are, to make you forget
That's
what
true.
things have occurred. So that's a powerful weapon against when you're feeling down. You can look back on that journal and say, hey, I don't have a lot to complain about,
Right. That's it.
right?
That's
So
it.
thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think I heard it said one time. They said if you look at what you don't have, you realize, how little you have.
Yeah.
But if you focus on what you do have, you realize how much you have.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great one. All right. How does excuse me, what does friendship mean to you?
Yeah. Friendship. What does friendship mean to me? I am a very intentional guy. Very, very intentional. I just don't have good intentions, but I'm very passionate about life. I love strong, I do everything I do everything with meaning,
Hmm.
right? And friendship for me, it means a lot. It means trust,
Hmm.
it means sacrifice. Like, I don't believe that you can be a close friend, because they're different, they're acquaintances, they're friends, but I believe the friend that we're talking about, like a close friend, I believe that, you can't be my friend and I don't put demands on you. It's like, if you're close to me, you're gonna feel the heat, right? So, I that's how I look at friendship. It's like I'm reminded of Christ when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane and he was going through a very difficult time. He was about to be crucified, and Peter, James, this was a time whereby he turned to them now. They hung around him a lot because he was doing miracles and he was the one always giving, always pouring in, but now he needed them now. He put a demand on them. He said, hey, why are you sleeping? And rightfully so. If you have a close friend and you're going through a tough time,
You won't
they
be
got
able
to
to
go through that
rest.
with you, right? you know, so that's how I see friendship. I see friendship as yeah, the trust factor, love, of course, unconditional love.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's just a few words to describe how I see friendship.
Mhm. I hear that. I've said this before, but a lot of people are lonely
Yeah,
and they need. I have a business. I have separate thing in my business called the peer ear, and it's like basically being able to listen to people with a non-judgmental Christ
right.
spirit, and
Yeah.
that's what has informed me throughout my life.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that there are others who love, first of all, other men who love themselves and understand who they are and
Right.
whose they are, but
Right.
also men who transfer that same love to another, non-judgmentally, with grace, with reciprocity. You're living uh, you're living it and you're reading it. You're doing all the things to create a atmosphere of growth and
Right.
belonging. You know, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next question. As a
Sure.
as a man as a man, when you hear these words, what comes to mind? Pride, ego, shame, guilt.
Pride, ego, guilt, shame.
Mhm.
Mm. As a man,
Mhm.
yeah. What words comes to, should I take them individually or just take them all together?
You do as you wish.
Yeah. So when I think of ego, well, you know, when I hear all of them together, it's just someone who has a lack of identity of who they are. You know, we as men, we put up a lot.
Mhm.
We put up a lot. We have a lot to, we identify ourselves with a lot of things, like how much money we make,
Mhm.
what we drive. We're very conscious about certain things,
Mhm.
but it shows a sense of insecurity. We use those things to secure ourselves, right? And we find validation and identity in those things. But as the scripture said, store not your treasures upon earth, right? But you got to store them in a place where, the moth can't get to them, the thief can't steal them, right? Because I'm telling you, sometimes you have a good job, but who knows, the economy might change and, that job might be taken away from you, right? So as a man, you don't really too much identify yourself in, the roles per se or material things per se. But really and truly, you really got to find your security in God.
Mhm.
You really got to find your security in something that is higher, God, Yeah.
So true. Pride, shame, guilt.
Yeah. Pride, shame, guilt. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, okay, so pride, definitely. Well, you said pride goeth before fall, right?
Mhm.
Um, Pride is like when I think of, and you're relating this to a man, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So when I think of like pride, yeah, it has to go back to what I just said.
Yeah.
It has to be some sort of lack of, security in who you are, because pride is really a facade, right? You put up. It's
Yes.
really a facade that you put up. It's, sometimes it's not even who you are. I've been around people who are prideful, and
Mhm.
it's like, they make a mistake, and it's like right then and there, the pride that they displayed, it just don't make any sense, right? So, and guilt, guilt is like, for a man, there's a lot of things that a man can feel guilty about. He might feel insufficient about living up to expectations.
Mhm.
There's a lot of expectation being placed on men to
Mhm.
provide, to be of a certain status. And sometimes we might feel guilty, and sometimes men run away. I always say a man don't run necessarily because he is uh he's like how to put it? He's like irresponsible, or he don't want to take care of his responsibility. Sometimes he run because he's fearful. He's afraid. He just can't live up to the expectation and all the demands that is placed on him. It's tough being a man.
Yes. Yes. And those words I specifically chose because
Right,
those words are like suppressing who you are if you
right.
continue to live in those spaces that you were talking about. So that was so wonderful. I
Yes,
hope you men are listening.
yes.
I
Yeah,
hope so, because maybe that word could like change the way someone was thinking about it, you know?
right, right. Yeah.
So,
Because I'll tell you this much, man. Sometimes, and it cannot be the roles. You can't identify yourself with the role you play. Um, when World War II happened, it changed a lot of things. Back then, a man was known for his role. He went out, he provided. The woman stayed home, she take care of the kids.
mhm,
But that has changed. Now, women, they're making the same money, they have the same jobs, same influence. And now it's challenging if you were identifying yourself in your job and what you do. And it's challenging now, if you're going to identify yourself with the roles. So you got to be something more. You got to understand the real purpose of manhood
mhm,
and why you are a man in the first place and what God says about being a man. Because sometimes it's really not the roles,
mhm,
So, when I think of like manhood, and I was looking at it when I was thinking about your show here, is that when it comes to fatherhood, when I looked at fatherhood, I saw like, okay, somebody who is tough, who is strong,
mhm.
who's not emotional. But I've learned so much that fatherhood is so much more. It's so much more to being a man than just being a provider. You have to be the priest of your home.
Mhm.
You have to, they say when you're on your knees, you're taller than trees. And you got to be vulnerable as a man. You have to, you know, go before God as a priest, kneel down, and really take the concerns of your children and your wife to God. You're like a mediator. You're like, you're like a person who stands in the gap and you pray for your family. Um, when I look at fatherhood, another thing I look at is being a king. And when
Mhm,
I say being a king in your home, I'm not talking about sitting on a throne.
mhm.
No, a king means administration.
Leadership.
You administrate in terms of, you get involved in terms of the finances. I know men who just sit in the home, they go out, they work, they just give the wife all the money. They don't get involved. But you might not be controlling the finance, right? Because your wife might be better at finance, but you must be a king, like an administrator. You must be involved. You have to have a say in terms of, the direction of where the finances are going. You have to
Mhm,
solve problems. You have to be the judge. You can't run away from it. You got to administrate, right? And yeah, and when it comes to fatherhood as well, I look at a prophet. You got to be a prophet. Prophet speaks of your declarations. You got to be able to edify and uplift and speak into the dreams of your children, speak into the dreams of your wife. It's a lot. It's a lot more than just providing. You know, you have to be a visionary leader. You know, I always say when a man gets a wife, one thing that woman need to find out from that man is not how much money he's making, not if he have a car or house or no. She has to find out what is your seed. What are you carrying? What is your vision? Wow.
Yes.
The Bible said without vision, people would perish. So guess what? I'm telling you, my wife followed me. I didn't have all the money in the world. I was getting things together, but I had a vision. I always been able to paint a picture for her and tell her, hey, this is where we're going. This is where we're going to be. So, you know, I inspired her. And that's the thing about it. You know, she came on board, and because we need to be men of vision. So without talking too much and babbling on, is you know, I do a workshop called Love and Vision. And what I do in that workshop, I teach families, husband and wife, how to get on the same page with one vision. Yes, how to develop vision. Because sometimes a man could have a gift and he could have a talent and he's going out providing, but never develop a business. You
Yeah,
know,
that is
sometimes,
absolutely.
you know, so I teach them how to create vision, because what vision does, it employs the entire family. Wow.
It does.
Yes, it employs the entire family. And this is why sometimes your children decide that, hey, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, because guess what? No vision was created. No, but it's not just to build a house to put your kids in. No, it is to have a vision. Pass on a family business, pass on a family ministry, pass on, you know, it could be a cause, it could be a non-for-profit. But what are you building together? You know, so we do that in that workshop. So, you know, I hope I didn't stray too much.
No, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. Your talk, your answer just now reminded me of Dr. Miles Monroe. So, okay. When did you find your dominion?
Right, that's a good question. So, well, dominion, I see dominion as an area that you dominate. Yes, an area that you dominate. And that's the first thing that God says about man. And when he created man, he said, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, you know. So when I discovered my dominion is when I really discovered my gift, my gift. Yeah, each one of us, we were born with a gift, something that God has given us. We're blessed with that thing. I don't believe nobody, the man under the bridge has a gift. The man working at Walmart has a gift. The man on Wall Street has a gift. Every one of us has a gift. It's a special ability that God has given us, has graced our life with, that we can do something with the least amount of effort and we get the greatest result at doing it. I believe that with all my heart. That's my message. So in saying that, I discovered my dominion when I discovered my gift. And you know, I was born into a family of singers. I discovered that I could sing. With singing, that exposed me, you know, to really understand that, hey, I can speak, I can inspire people, you know. So when you find your gift, that's when I found my dominion. So that's my domain. And let me remind you, I want to say to the men out there, listen, every dominion that God gives you, you have to enter that industry or that domain as a learner, as a
Mm,
learner.
mm,
Sometimes we feel that we quote that scripture and we say, God has given me dominion.
mm,
No, no, dominion don't start with dominion. Could
mm,
I could I could I just stretch it a bit and tell you something? When God told Adam to have dominion over these things, guess what? Those things had dominion over Adam first.
mm,
Could I take it a bit deeper?
mm,
So listen to this. Adam, listen, anything that you don't, anything that you have not learned, it dominates you. Anything that you don't dominate, it dominates you. Think
Mm,
about the ocean. Think about the ocean. You can go into the
true.
ocean, right? But if you can't swim, that ocean will dominate you.
That's right.
So you
That's
have
right.
to learn how to swim. So the point I'm trying to make is that you have to, you know that God has given you this because your goal is to dominate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you're into fashion, it's not just to go into to just have a job or to no, you are to dominate that industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes it sounds kind of it sounds a bit harsh, you know. Some
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, but you're
But
there.
come in
If you're
strong,
on a
man.
listen, if you're on a job,
Mm-hmm.
God has sent you there to learn because
Mm-hmm.
that's how you dominate. Before you become a master, you must become a learner.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to subject yourself to learning the industry, submit yourself to being an apprentice, but your goal should be to dominate, especially as a kingdom citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
that's where I find my dominion. I found my dominion, to answer your question, when I discovered my gift,
That's
right? Yes. So I've been working my gift zone. I've been working my gift zone. And the thing about your gift is that you use every resource. When you discover that there's a proverbs, there's a part in the Bible that talk about a man who found a pearl. He
mm-hmm.
found a pearl in a field. And you know what the scripture said? He went and he got all his money together to buy the entire field. What does that mean? When you see you found a gift, do everything in your power. Use every resource to develop that gift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so with my gift, I'm an inspirational speaker. I inspire. I know my gift zone, and I'm continuing to develop my area of gifting. So
Thank you.
I buy books. I read books. I've invested in my gift. I went to university. I've did I've studied. I've meditated on my gift. I've invested money, time. You know what I'm saying? To
Mm-hmm.
develop that gift because that's where your dominion is. Your dominion is when you really conquer your gift. Because guess what? You have to conquer that thing that was given to you.
Mm, this is amazing.
Oh gosh.
Thank you for that. And I hope you men are listening because we're getting all the gems. We're getting all the thought-provoking, sit down and write some things down
Yes.
for yourself to build yourself up. So blessed. All
Yeah.
right, last question.
Yes.
Woo! How do you navigate hope?
How do I
How do you navigate hope?
hope or home?
Hope.
Hope. Oh, how do you navigate hope?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, hope is expectation, right? I
Mm,
would say how I navigate hope is by using faith.
mm.
You know,
There you
the
go.
Bible said faith is a substance of things hoped for. I got a new one. I heard it this way. It said hope is expectation, but faith is assurance. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yay!
So yeah, I got that the other day. It was very, I had to
Whoa!
write that down. Yeah, I had to write that down. So I
Whoa!
navigate hope by using faith. And
Mhm,
I see faith as faith in God, in the character of God, faith in his word. I mean, you could look into the word of God and you could see God's character. You could see how he dealt with the forefathers, how he dealt with Abraham. Abraham trusted God. That was accounted unto him for righteousness. Noah, he built an ark. You know, you see those stories, and those are not just stories, those are principles. That's why you see, I navigate hope in terms of the more I'm in the word of God, it affects the way I see. And not just my literal lives. It affects the way I see life. I
yeah.
interpret life. Because guess what? How many of you know that your diet can change the way you see? Yes, whatever you're consuming, whatever you're reading, it is going to be. They say we don't see things as they are. We see things. the way we are. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's very important that you get that word in. He said, what comes out of a man defiles him. Not what goes into it, not what you eat, but what comes out of you defiles. So how I navigate faith is really how I navigate hope is it's really my faith. And he said, faith cometh by the word, by hearing the word of God. So my foundation for my faith is really the word. So that's really how I navigate hope per se.
What? Thank you for that.
Yes,
Wow. This has been swell.
yes, yeah.
Really
Good
do
stuff, man.
appreciate your words.
Yes.
Words have helped me to gain confidence,
Mm.
and books were my friends when I didn't have any.
Wow. Wow. Amazing.
So, and I'll show you some that you probably will appreciate.
Yes. Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
It's on
Amazing.
the spirit, right? I
Yes.
put it
That.
on my desk. I keep it on my desk because we
Oh,
need to be regulated at all times, you
yeah.
know?
Which collection is that?
Is this from the Dollar Tree?
Okay. Great. Great.
From
Yeah.
the Dollar
I
Tree.
love.
And
I
I was
love that.
like, it really did help. It really did help.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, it really did help. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I was in there for something else and I passed them and I got
Yes.
two. And then I went to another one and I found two more. And
Yes.
I have them now just to keep my mind right, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. I'm going to ask now if you have anything else you'd like to say to a young man or older man or indifferent a middle-aged man. What
Right.
would you like to
Right.
say? And also, if you can repeat your handles and information
Right.
before I
Great.
tell before I say my
Yeah.
spiel.
Great. So I really want to speak to men out there. I'm a man. I've been a man all my life, right? And my journey, it was not easy.
Hmm.
I always I wrote a book called Beyond the Gift, Ascending Your Life's Assignment. And in that book, my last words in that book was, I never had the perfect life to do what I did. All right, if that makes sense. What am I saying? I never went to university at the right time. I went to the university when I was a grown man with responsibilities. It was tough. I couldn't go to the professor and tell the professor that, hey, give me an A on this course because, I worked last night and I came home tired. I couldn't go to my boss and say, oh, I can't come in today because, I need to study for this. I couldn't even find an excuse for my family to say, I can't be a husband or father right now. I need to take a vacation because I'm doing this other stuff. So it is tough. It is tough. And, as a man, we face the challenge of, trying to be present with our families, but trying to be a way to really build a life for them and to leave a legacy. I believe every good man is, 45 and up and really considering life, he wants to get his house in order. He wants to make sure he leave an inheritance for his children, and it is tough. It is a challenge,
Yeah.
right? That's why you see some men run. They don't stay. Anytime you see a man cannot be successful in an area of his life, he run away from that area.
Yeah.
Anytime he can't solve a problem, he goes somewhere where he can win because men are scorers. We are scorers. That's why you see he will leave the home. When we don't do well with arguing, we will leave the home and we'll go play basketball. Why? We could win at basketball. That's why you see sometimes we stay late at the office because guess what? We can balance the book. You know what I'm saying? We stay late at the mechanic shop because guess what? We know we can get this car fixed, but sometimes when we get home, sometimes it's a challenge to fix things at home. So we stay away or we run. But I just want to say to the man today that guess what? God commends you when you stay. Sometimes it's not about solving every problem. I've learned this lesson, you know, sometimes when my wife is speaking, I've learned that, hey, she don't want me to really solve the problem or fix it. She just want me to listen. She want me to be there. So men, it's very important that you're there. Be present. You don't have to solve every problem, like I said, but it's very important that you be present. All right, because guess what? When you're there, they feel safe. When you're there, when you're close, they feel secure, they feel loved. So there's a lot you can do even if you don't say anything, just by being present. All right. So I just want to encourage every man out there that I know what you're going through. I know what you're going through. Because we as men, we go to a job and we're providers, yes, but we think a lot about our dreams. We think a lot about, hey, we want life to be better. All right. We want life to be better for our family, especially when you look around. We want to put our family in a nice home. We want to have them being secured, right? All of those things we carry. I always say in closing that, sometimes we as men, we're thinkers. We're
Mm-hmm.
thinkers. And I want the ladies to kind of go, kind of understand who we are. Sometimes, you could be talking to a man and he's not saying anything. But you know what he's doing? He's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because as men, how we deal with problems, we go into a cave, we internalize, we
Yes.
process things. Women, they speak, they talk, So sometimes when he's not speaking, he's thinking,
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you carry a lot. And, sad to say, the suicidal rate amongst
Yeah.
middle-aged men is very high. And it's because sometimes, hey, the mental pressures get so much, life gets so much on us, right, that we want to escape. But I want men out there to be strong. You know why? God has made you strong. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why God has given you these responsibilities, the reason why He has called you to be a leader in the first place, is because He knows that you have it within you
Mm-hmm.
to be strong and courageous.
Mm-hmm.
God said to Joshua, be strong and courageous. I want to let men know, be strong
Mm-hmm.
in the Lord and in the power of His might. And trust me, yeah, all will be well. All will be well. All will be well. I'll leave this with you. I'll leave this with you. Whenever you see everything is moving around you, whenever you see you're going through a storm, the best thing to do is to stay still.
That's right.
Be still and know that He is God. Sometimes you be still, just stay one place. Don't move. Sometimes we want to move and we want to fix things and we no. Just stay positioned. Just stay planted in your area of your belief and your faith. And you find out that the thing that stays still, sometimes everything moves, and then guess what? Because you are still and you are planted and you are firm, you will find that hey, everything comes back right to where it started,
That's right.
right there. All right. So I hope you guys were blessed. I hope that I said something that was inspiring to some man out there, some woman out there. And I want to thank you. Yes, I have a few words for you. I have a few words for you, man. I am so pleased to see what you're doing. And I want to let you know, continue to push boundaries.
Yeah.
Continue to break rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have broken a rule. You have not broken a law, but you have
That's
broken a
right.
rule. Yes. So continue to break rules, man. Listen to me. I really admire what you're doing. And yeah, just do it. Just be all that. Don't take nothing to the cemetery, as Miles Monroe said. No,
Yeah.
don't die with it.
Yeah.
No, give us it. All right. And I love this show. I love this show. So I commend you and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to finish off by talking about why I started Create Don't Hate.
Mhm.
So Create Don't Hate was born out of frustration. The
Right,
frustration of individuals hating on me because of my differences.
right,
I wanted to start a movement of hope, courage, and love to build community and connection in the process.
right.
Create Don't Hate is a real practical way of sharing hope that is to those who have been muted and shut down because
Wow,
of just being who they are. Create Don't Hate is an anthem that I would play to get through the tough times.
wow.
So,
Yes, I love that. Create, don't hate.
that's right, right, because it's
That's
best.
it.
And creating instead of hating starts with you,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So once we start working on who we are and what we need to fix, we'll start to look at all the fingers that are pointing, uh, all the fingers that are pointing back at us instead of
That's it.
starting to look at only the finger pointing one way.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
thank
let's continue to do what we do. My theme, my organization is all about building characters and shaping leaders for global impact. A
that's
true leader prepares the sky so others can fly. So that's really my vocation.
thank you.
And I know this is your vocation. So yeah, let's do what we have to do.
Hmm. Thank you so much.
Yes.